Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video, a match preview. And we're pretty confident, Sloth, aren't we? It's only Man City, probably the toughest game of the season, other than Man City away. Uh, in a good way, we're kind of getting it out of the way early, but at the same time, we've built up a bit of momentum. The international breaks happened, we're back, and we're faced with probably the toughest test we could face in the Premier League. So, on that note, Sloth, how are you feeling about, our start to the season before we kind of break down this? We've gone into the international break, 10 points from 12. We were top of the league for a bit. City, they're obviously 4 wins from 4. But from a West Ham perspective, we've had a flying start.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And it's not just been like we've grinded out results. There's been plenty of goals. The play's been good as well. And despite our lack of possession, when we have had chances, we've taken them. It's been a case of some games as well, like Brighton, where we probably could have had 5 goals or more goals than we scored. And it's been a really good sort of mix of us taking chances in attack and up top, but also some fantastic goalkeeping and real solid defensive unit. So all the things you kind of want to see.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think a lot of fans were apprehensive about all of the changes or lack of changes towards the beginning of the transfer window. At least, obviously, we lost Declan Rice, a massive loss, but it seems like the players we've brought in have just kind of slotted right in, and that's what you kind of worry about when you're kind of making big changes, especially in that midfield with Alvarez and Ward-Prowse going in there now with Paqueta. Obviously, Souček had the head injury, but he's back this week. So really, the disruption's actually been a good thing. We've changed things up, and it's actually helped us play a little bit better. Do you think Moyes has kind of taken a step back from his approach last season and let's stick to what we're good at. We're going to try and hit teams on the break. We've really improved our turnovers when we're countering. We're having a lot more shots from our counter attacks. A lot of stuff is happening and working well, and we're getting players like Bowen and Antonio in dangerous positions. So, do you think Moyes has slightly tweaked that this season? Just based off what happened last season in the Premier League.
Well, I think there's definitely been a change in a few areas. I think we definitely look a lot happier to take shots. Like, I mean, Bowen in particular, he's scored some great goals this season, but we look like we're having a lot more shots on goal and a lot more attempts, which I think was one of the frustrations last season, where our finishing was either really poor or it just kind of looked like we were a bit pussyfooting about. We weren't really prepared to take a shot or just work the keeper. And one thing in particular that I think is maybe going under the radar is I think Emerson's been really good. He's added a lot more pace than we've seen from Cresswell over the past few years. And, I did want another left back in as well. This summer, I was quite vocal about, not really wanting Cresswell to come back after his behaviour. But I do think a large part of the sort of defensive improvement this year has been down to an increase in pace across the back line. And, Aguerd has really helped us show that. Obviously we missed out on him last season, starting the season with that ankle injury, and he's come into the squad. And next to Zuma, we've got 2 big, strong physical units, and we've also got the pace of Emerson on that left-hand side and that constant work rate. And I know Soufal, he doesn't give you that pace, but he will give you that work rate up and down.
Yeah, I mean, we've also signed Mavropanos as well. He scored 2 goals, I think yesterday or the day before for Greece. And, he can play right back as well. He's done it a lot. And, he's definitely got more pace than someone like Kufal. We've seen Kera slot in at right back as well. So with Kufal now getting on at 31, I think that's probably the next position we'll probably look to upgrade on and maybe sign an out-and-out right back, because, again, Ben Johnson just can't get a look in at the moment. And it's a position we've neglected a lot before, but we're kind of digressing from the inevitable of Man City, which we don't want to talk about, but we're going to. Let's take a look at the head-to-head, Sloth, just for this season. Obviously, both played 4 games. We're currently 4th, they're 1st. 10 points from 12 for us. They've got 12 out of 12. and obviously we've won 3 and they've won 4. So not too dissimilar starts. We've had some tough fixtures, going to Brighton, playing how we did on the counter, home to Chelsea, especially the second half, playing how we did on the counter. And then, arguably against Bournemouth, we should have won that game, and Luton as well. It was fairly comfortable. So this is a different type of test. It's always going to be a different test when you face Man City. But one thing we've seen, especially when we drew 2-2 with them a couple of years ago, is we've got the players to kind of hurt them where they can be hurt. And I think the way Moyes wants to set up and the way Moyes wants to play is probably the best chance we're going to get at beating Man City, other than, being a top team like Arsenal or Liverpool, where you kind of suffocate them at their own game. But we can't really go to head and match them in that aspect. So the best alternative is countering. And, we're probably one of the best teams at counter-attacking in the league, especially so far this season. We've been excellent. So if we can bring that same clinical edge to this match, do we have a flicker of chance in this one?
Look, everyone always has a chance. And I think it's ignorant to suggest that, you can just completely write any team off. Obviously there are exceptions, but we always know about these famous David and Goliath stories. So I do kind of, I think we have a chance. I'm not going to be too confident with it. I think Doku came in and he looks absolutely fantastic on those wings. He's quite happy to switch either side, but this will be a big test of Cresswell with Doku running at him, because he is just he's an absolute flying machine, to quote the great late Ray Wilkins. But it's one of those where, look, if Man City are on song, I don't think anyone beats them. And I do think we have the players to do so. I think we can potentially have that approach particularly with our set pieces. I don't want to jinx it, and I think everyone's kind of potentially risking one of those kind of great white hope situations where if we keep saying about how Ward-Prowse hasn't scored a free kick, he's not going to score a free kick. But we haven't seen much in the way of him being able to utilize those set pieces or work keepers from them. So hopefully we get that. I think we can definitely frustrate Manchester City, and it will be interesting to see what happens with Mavropanos. If we do go to a 3 at the back, I think that could be really interesting. But then again, you don't really change a winning setup, and I think I'd be reluctant if I was Moyes. But if we're 60 minutes in and we've got a 1-0 lead, then I wouldn't bet against Mavropanos coming on to try and shore things up.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well with Kufal, I think Czech Republic, their last international break game, Kufal wasn't in the squad. So as a recording, we don't know whether he's got an injury or something's happened there. But, like you mentioned, Mavropanos maybe coming in at right back, maybe us shifting to a back 3. I agree with you. I don't think he will do that. I think we'll stick with the same team that's been winning, which we're going to put on screen here. So this is kind of our expected lineup with Ariel in goal, Emerson again, Zuma, Kufal, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta in the midfield 3, and then the front 3 of Benrahma, Antonio, and Bowen. But one player we haven't mentioned is Kudus. He came on for a few minutes at Luton, didn't really have too much of a chance to impact the game. But would you be tempted to kind of bring him into the fold straight away, even though it's a winning team? It's an exciting signing. It's a player a lot of fans are going to want to see. Maybe making his home debut. Do you think Moyes will maybe be tempted to do that, or is it a game too soon for him?
Well, he played in the international break and he started, didn't he? I think maybe we could see Moyes change his mindset with introducing new players. But I personally don't think he will. I think he'll stick with Benrahma. We have seen Benrahma be fruitful against City in the Cups, in particular, over the past few seasons. I do think that it's one of those where this will be where Moyes says to him, look, this is a chance for you to really put your name down. We've got Kudus in and he's going to be breathing right down your neck. So go out there, show me what you can do. And if after 60 minutes or even maybe less, you're not impressing me, I'm going to make a change. I think it's maybe a little bit too soon. And as I said, I do think that with our start to the season, we probably won't make the change. I know he has probably been one of the most frustrating players in the side or over these past few games, just because his inability, or should I say inconsistency, when taking on a man, or just his overall sort of just lack of
That's
pace.
Benrahma, isn't it? He's always inconsistent. I mean, we see the pass he does at Brighton away for Bowen's goal, and then there's moments where he's just really frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's tough to call him inconsistent because it sounds like we're saying he doesn't deliver over the course of a season. Of course, his output is very, very good. It's just a case of in games he you know he's inconsistent when he's taking on a man, or with his decision making. But
I think he is inconsistent. I think he is. I think when Benrahma's on song, he's an excellent player. And when he's got that confidence, like you mentioned, beating his man and, finding those pockets, having shots from distance, having, putting good balls into the box. But there's times where he'll just balloon it. There's times where he'll just completely misplace passes. There's games that are really frustrating to watch Benrahma. And, there's people get very frustrated by him and think, okay, why is Fornals not playing, etc. But yeah, I think Benrahma is, it depends on the type we get, and I hope we get the Benrahma that we've seen and we know can perform, because he would be another dangerous attacking output for us. Other than of course, Jared Bowen, who's been in really hot form for us this year, and I think it's going to be the same. I think Bowen's probably going to be one of the key aspects to this, along with Antonio doing that job, because we're not going to have much of the ball. It's going to be really important when we do get those turnovers that we're clinical in those moments that David Moyes plays in. So from a defensive point of view, for Man City, they're obviously very well drilled. They're very structured, but they do leave gaps when they push up high. And is this a game for someone like Jared Bowen to take it, by the scruff of the neck and say, look, I'm going to find those pockets like I did a couple of years ago, make those runs, and hope someone like Paqueta or Ward-Prowse plays them over the top for me?
I think so. I think we have to really rely on the pacey and physical units we have. I think it's one of the sort of reasons that I wouldn't be shocked if Kudus does come in, because he can offer that big physical but very quick unit, who can do something in attack. And I think when we're talking about Bowen, he has been caught offside. I think it's the most in the league at the moment, but that's just obvious sign of intent and how he's playing, really trying to catch off the last man. And when that happens, he's incredibly dangerous. So I think we will be reliant on a pacey outlet, someone like Bowen potentially trying to catch out the City defenders. The problem is when you're playing against defenders of that caliber, or even against someone with, say, the recovery pace of Walker, it's incredibly hard to do. And I just I think we will be reliant on those players who can pick the perfect pass, or just look to create a bit of space and have a shot.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. But from the start of the season we've had, it almost becomes a free hit. There's less pressure on this game. I don't think many people expected us to be on 10 points after 4 games with the fixtures we had. So we're already ahead of where we probably need to be in terms of the baseline for the season. So these next 2 games with City and Liverpool, we have nothing to lose, really. We really can just approach it that way. And I think that will help mentally with the players, with that confidence, at the moment at the club. And, we've actually got options now, which is nice to see. I would expect someone like Kudus to be on the bench. You've also then got Fornals to come on in the middle if he needs to create. You've got Souček if you want to shore up defensively, if you have something with 20 minutes to go in the match. We've still got options there. Someone like Cornet as well still hasn't really got a look in since returning from injury. Another pacey attacking player. So we do have options now. We do definitely have options, which is something that we haven't had at our disposal for a while. And it helps change games. And with games like this, you might just need that change, whether it's defensive or offensive for the period of match we're in. But let's kind of conclude this, Sloth, because it's going to be a tough game. We know the dangers that City have, Haaland, Foden, Grealish, the Bernardo Silva, the kind of list goes on with them. And they can hurt you in different ways with their physicality, with their technical ability. with their pace, like Doku. You know, they really do have everything at their disposal, and a manager that knows how to get the best out of them. So with everything we've kind of spoke about and everything discussed so far with West Ham's start to the season and this approach to Man City, how do you see it going? What's your initial prediction for the match?
I kind of want to be positive and say a draw, but I can't see past City. I think, normally we kind of hear about how they have a slow start or they have a tough period, and I just think they look so good this year. Adding Doku and even Alvarez's kind of surge over the last kind of season or so in terms of time, the last year has been a huge addition to them. So I'm going to say 2-1, but there's a little bit in the back of my mind that says, maybe we could snatch a draw if the place is rocking, if the set pieces are on song, and if we can get 9 out of 10s from everyone, I think we'll be in with a chance. But I'm going to go 2-1 for City and be Mr. Negative.
No, I don't think you're Mr. I think you're Mr. Realistic at the moment. I think anyone coming up against Man City is going to be a tough game, but do you expect it to be a little bit closer than maybe some are anticipating, and maybe like the odds would suggest or people predicting? Do you see us giving them actually a difficult challenge and not being just a rollover?
I think it would be a difficult challenge, but then again, that is entirely dependent if Areola has a good game.
Yeah.
If he's ironing out, if he's getting a couple of clangers out the way in games we win, dropping easy crosses or something here and there over the first month of the season, fine. If it means he has an absolute barnstormer against City, then I think we probably are in with a shout of a point or maybe even 3. But we can definitely give them a game. It will just be a case of if their players show up, then I don't really think anyone beats them, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think like I mentioned, with the start we've had to this season, I think this is really a free hit, and it really could play into our hands. It could become a massive advantage for us in this match with less fear than perhaps we might have gone into, less pressure, and just more buzz around the stadium going into this kind of Saturday 3:00, which again we're not going to have many of those this season with European football. Hopefully, if we get through the groups. So I'm kind of on the edge with it. I think if we do lose, it won't be a massive scoreline. I think the max they'll win is 2-1, 3-1. I think we will cause them problems. Like I mentioned, we've got different options now. We've got the set piece threat, we've got that counter attacking threat, and that looks to be back and flowing this season. So I've just got that feeling that something could happen. Not saying it will. I've just got that feeling that we could cause City problems, especially being the Saturday 3:00 game when it's not televised. So yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1 with my heart, but I think head 2-1, 3-1 is probably more realistic. But I'm gonna go over 1-0. I think we'll cause them problems, and we'll probably get on the score sheet. That's my biggest prediction. I think we'll score against Man City. I don't know if we'll necessarily win or draw, but yeah, that's going to be it for our preview. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a comment. Let us know your predictions. Are we being completely, deluded with what we're saying? Are Man City going to wipe the floor with us? Let us know because we do read the comments and we will reply. And yeah, Sloth, hopefully we get the win. Hopefully we keep the unbeaten run going in the Premier League this season. And yeah, until next time.
Come on, you irons.